That Hard Knocks episode was so good and so bad at the same time. What is up, Finn fans? I took so many notes watching that Hard Knocks episode. There was so much to it. Ugh. I had to live it all over again. The Dolphins. I know I'm going to get some blasphemy for this. I know people are going to be like, really, Doug? But the Dolphins could have and should have beaten the Bills. I don't care what you say. Ew, oh. We're going to talk about it. But first, before we talk about all that stuff, there was a signing today. What time am I recording this? It's midnight now. There was a signing today of Justin Houston. I made a video about that, not knowing that the Dolphins weren't done. We lost Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, and AVG, and Cameron Good. So we lost 4. Jalen Phillips was a while ago, and then we just lost 3. So the Miami Dolphins weren't done with Justin Houston. They also brought in Bruce Irving to the 53-man roster because Jerome Baker and Andrew Van Ginkel are going to IR. And Malik Reed is now back on practice squad. So Justin Houston and Bruce Irving are going to come in and help us with that pass rushing. Now, what amount of time or this or that is it going to take? All depends on what they're going to ask these guys to do. Because, how familiar is Irving and Houston with Vic Fangio's system? Because what you got to understand, Vic Fangio's system is kind of sprinkled out throughout the NFL. There's little attributes and little, it's kind of like the West Coast offense, how it started with the 49ers back in the 80s. You know what I'm saying? It has evolved. So they might have some understanding, or it might just be a lot of, look, we need you to get after the quarterback. It's third down. Go get Mahomes first, please. So we brought in 3 guys. Like I said, Malik Reed is back. He was on the team. He's now on the practice squad. But we brought in Bruce Irvin, and Justin Houston. 2 names that I mentioned. Go back and watch that Who's Going to Replace Bradley Chubb video. I mentioned these 2 guys, and hey, they brought him back. So now let's talk about Hard Knocks and tough episode. They started, obviously, talking about the Ravens game. They started with Mike McDaniel. Kind of came out. Everyone talking about being better. We got to be better than that. We got to be better than that. You get the break speed off you by the Baltimore Ravens. Yes, you have to be better than that. Mike McDaniel said 2023 ended difficulty. Yesterday was hard AF. Our intent is to be great. To be great, things are going to be difficult. The narratives didn't come out of nowhere. That's the one I like. That the narratives didn't come out of nowhere. And that's something I'm going to talk about in tomorrow's video. But these narratives that we can't beat winning teams, that we're hard, you can't play on the road well, we don't play in the cold well, Tua can't win the clutch situations, they didn't come out of nowhere. And for them to go away, you have to do the thing. So I like that. They talked about the injuries. They talked about how we are decimated. It's mostly on the defensive side, just decimated with injuries. And I'm going to talk more about that on Friday. But it's ridiculous. They focused on Jerome Baker a lot. He was back. Sucks. It just sucks. He was talking about getting ready. He was doing the hydro running, for his knee and all that stuff. And then he was like, mostly when they're practicing stuff, ever since he's been out since the Washington game, he works out. He's constantly there, constantly working out, doing all that stuff. And they showed him going in, getting ready to work out. And lo and behold, there's Jalen Phillips working out, which is awesome to see. I think he'll be back. I think Jalen Phillips, with the torn Achilles, I think he'll be back. I think he'll be back by training camp. I don't think it's going to be the same as Bradley Chubb with the torn ACL. I think that's a little bit more severe of an injury. Had a meeting with McDaniel. So McDaniel and Greer brought a few guys, the guys being Alec Ingold, Raheem Mostert, Teron Armstead, Tua Tagovailoa, and Tyreek Hill. Brought the 5 of them. They were sitting in Mike McDaniel's office, and the reason they brought them in is, Pro Bowlers. And for Ingold, for Mostert, and for Tua, they are first-time Pro Bowlers, starting Pro Bowlers. So that was cool. They said their thing. But also Mike McDaniel added and said to them that they're the leaders. They're seen as the leaders, and a ton can be done, and a lot needs to be cleaned up. So Mike McDaniel is noticing the things that we're noticing, and Mike McDaniel is also noticing the sloppiness, which made me feel better. Like, he's not just blindly putting his sunglasses on. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, rest in peace, Tony Soprano. But, we all hated the clapping for the field goals, and then you had Philman, who's also like, okay, we could do better. I like that he understands what's going on there. Showed Baker back at practice. Everyone was happy about that. McDaniel wants Tua to be more aggressive on the sideline. And I thought that was a little interesting because some people that I've seen on Twitter and stuff were like, he's very lackadaisical on the sideline. Doesn't get really mad, which I like. I don't want him to get overly frustrated and then think too much about the bad plays and wash it off and go out and do something else. McDaniel talks about how he got fired from Houston. He talks about how it's been 8 years to the day that he was sober, and how he talks about he almost lost his job, and how Kyle Shanahan, Dan Quinn, Morris, all these guys sat him down and were like, you need to get your life together, not only for you, but for your wife, and this, and that. And he said it at the end of practice. He gave a speech talking about how, he went from being a party boy drinker to, boom, I'm done drinking because of who it's affecting and all that stuff. And, it's the adversity that made him who he is today as the Miami Dolphins head coach. And he was trying to tell that to the players. Like, look, we're going through something. We got the brakes beaten off us by the Ravens. We need to, get through this adversity, because adversity is an opportunity, like he said. They showed the Tyreek Hill house on fire, and how he left practice. Drew Brooks. They talked about Drew Brooks, the team security guy, who I think is awesome. He's also the get back guy. So if you ever see someone standing behind any coach and they're too close to the sideline, they kind of like pull their shirt, kind of tell them to, like, all right, get back. And they always like kind of just take a few steps back. They talked about his son and how his son had a rare form of cancer in his brain, and how a year later he died. And that really, that hit me, because I have a 3-year-old. So I was just watching it thinking, if that ever happened to me, oh my God, I'd be a mess. But he fought through it. He tore his tricep against the Kansas City game. He played on the sideline in Germany, which I thought was pretty crazy. And then the cut to Mike McDaniel again, talking about how, there's a lot of pent-up anger about what happened a year ago, how they knocked us out of the playoffs, the Buffalo Bills, and how if you want the division, you got to beat the guys who have it. Then we get to the game, and Jason Taylor was there. Fangio went up to Jerome Baker, and he said, welcome back, Baker, which was really cool. Tua, after the first down, said that's the game. That's how this game is going to be, long, sustainable drives. He knew it. And he had a bad game. But it's like he had 2 bad games. Don't have 3. Tua, don't have 3. But that's for another video. That's for Friday's video. Tua knew the touchdown to Hill, which I love, because there's still some people, as critical as I was of Tua and how I still have my reservation, there's one thing on my list for Tua, right? I had a list for Tua when we became a Miami Dolphin, and I was kind of checking things off as he was doing. I'm like, is he doing this? Is he able to do this? Is he able to do this? And I got one last thing on that list for me to be all in on Tua, and that is winning a playoff game / winning a game that matters. And so far, he hasn't. And now this is the game where if he does, I can be like, you win this playoff game, okay, I'm in. But it's just that one reservation. But he knew that touchdown pass to Tyreek Hill. He gets back to the sign. He's like, I knew it. As soon as the defense made this shift, and as soon as I saw them move this way, I was going to have Tyreek. And there's still people who think he can't pre-snap read a defense, and he doesn't read a defense. He just throws it blindly. That's not true. And again, I go back and watch my videos. I was critical of the dumb mistakes and missing the open guys, but some of these are just not true. And that's one of them, because he blatantly showed us. What else do we have there? So Baker said, it was a 2-minute warning. We're up 14-7. He was like, this is where Josh likes to run, so we got to be careful of him running. But the thing I love the most is where he said before that last play, before the half, he says, if he runs a slant, I'm going to let him catch it. I'm going to let him catch it. Which I like this MFer. He knew they're going to run a slant and he's going to drop the ball off to him so he can just get in the end zone. And Jerome Baker was smart enough to know that if I play it and I smack the ball out before he catches it, they're going to have an extra time to possibly get in the end zone. But he was smart enough to know, I'm going to let him catch it. He let him caught it, and he hit him. And again, a lot of people want to give some credit to Eli Apple because I think Eli Apple on his back, he still would have went forward and got the touchdown. Baker coming in and laying the wood, smart. Just so smart of Baker letting him catch it. Like, I just thought that was huge. And then in the locker room, Tua, come on, guys, we got to get this. Let's go get that hat. Let's go that hat. It goes to the offensive lineman. He was like, we need sound technique. They kind of messed up a little bit having, ineligible receivers down the field a few times. But I liked seeing that too. I like seeing him pumping them up. I like seeing him being like, let's go get that hat. Let's go win this game. This is our game. Coming out of halftime, Jerome Baker saying, they don't score the rest of the game, we win. Like, they had the mentality. It just was the technique wasn't there. And then Baker hurt his wrist, and he's on the sideline. He's saying, I'm here, and it's cracking. He played the whole game with that dislocated bone in his wrist. He played that whole game. And then AVG goes down, heartbreaking, the 3rd and 13 run. And you saw that's where he hurt it even more. Trying to tackle that big guy in Josh Allen. And then you got the pass that I showed you guys in the film breakdown that Tua kind of threw it too high, and Tyreek Hill got hit, and he got hurt. If he doesn't get hurt on that play, that pass to Chase Claypool would have been to Tyreek Hill, and maybe would have been a cleaner route, and he would have got in front of the ball, and he would have caught it, and we would have a lot of ifs and buts and all that stuff. If my mom had wheels, she'd be a bicycle. He wasn't, and we relied on Claypool, who has been sloppy with his route running, who hasn't been catching balls, and we all saw what happened. And then the thing I like, and I hate this, because look, when Tom Brady was with the Patriots, I hated him for obvious reasons, rival and yada yada, but I also hated him because he was a giant baby. If the Patriots lost, he went to the locker room, he didn't shake anyone's hand, but if they won, he was, I hate Josh Allen. Why do I hate Josh Allen? Because we can't beat him. And because he's just annoyingly good. It's not annoyingly good. Like, I think if Josh Allen wasn't mobile, he wouldn't be in the NFL right now. I'm being dead honest with you. If Josh Allen didn't have the mobility he has, I think he would be a backup somewhere, because I think his accuracy is off. And we saw it with the 2 interceptions. They were just bad passes. But it's his mobility and his body frame that make him the Josh Allen he is. And I'm saying this because I hate him, but the difference between him and Tom Brady is Josh Allen off the field, I don't hate Josh Allen. Because he goes up to Tua and he says, we'll see you in a couple weeks. Now, obviously, he's probably hoping, because, they've had our ticket for how long now. But it's just like, he's like, well, I'll see you in a couple weeks, right? I'm going to see you in a couple weeks. Not even like he was like, all right, man, yeah, good luck. I'll see you in a couple weeks, yeah. He said it twice to him. Like, I'm seeing you in a couple weeks, right? I'll see you in a couple weeks. He's just a good guy. But on the field, once you put that Bills uniform on, I can't stand it. Mike McDaniel, post-game, we won't tap out, all that adversity stuff. And then it ended with Jerome Baker. And it ended with him coming out with the cast on and his mom and everything, and just a very heartbreaking episode. But this is it. And you're getting a video tomorrow, another rah-rah, video from me tomorrow, because this is it. Can we beat the if the game was against the Bills, if the game was against the Ravens, I would be like, we can beat the Chiefs. Will we is the better question. I think we match up well against the Chiefs. If it wasn't for a fumble, we would have beaten the Chiefs in Germany. If it wasn't for a bad snap and not running the ball on the 31-yard line, we would have beat the Chiefs. We held them to no points in the second half. Yes, it's a much more decimated team, but maybe Houston and maybe Irvin will help us. This is a winnable game. I don't give a crap about it being cold. You want to start checking off narratives? This is when you do it, Miami. But I got this whole, I'm gonna start rambling now. I got a whole video planned for you guys tomorrow. But it's just another Hard Knocks episode where we're just, and maybe next week we get a win for the first time in 20-something years. Saturday, not next week. And then next week's video is, woohoo, we're going to Baltimore. Facing adversity, like Mike McDaniel said. But hope you guys enjoy this video. Give a thumbs up. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow isn't the rah-rah video. Tomorrow I have a funny script writing video. Thursday's the rah-rah video. Then Friday is the preview video. And then Saturday night, I'll be here. My dad won't. I tried to get him to come. He has a party to go to. I said, screw that party. He said, your mother won't let me. So it's just going to be me. But I'm going to dress as if I was out there and it's cold. So it's going to be fun. But I'll see you guys tomorrow. But like usual, stay classy. Offense out.